Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here, and today I want to chat with you guys a little bit about the fear mongering over estrogen in milk and dairy. And again, I'm a very pro dairy person, and I may not really delve in this video into all the other concerns and nonsense about, again, diabetes, the sugar content of milk, the supposed cancer risks of milk that have been completely debunked with multiple meta-analysis at this point. Let's set all that aside and let's talk about one that I've heard a lot. And this is one that I've had someone try to tell me in person, right? That, oh, this is a real concern. And it really isn't. And that's this idea that there's very large amounts of estrogen in milk and that this is a massive concern for people. And I get where they're coming from because milk, if you were to look at it, quantitatively, milk does contain more estrogen than just about any other food that we consume, but it largely has to do with the fact of the hormone levels of the cattle while they're lactating and everything. But here's the funny part I would ask the people. When they're worried about this, they're also for some reason not worried about breast milk from mothers. And it's like, look, if this was a massive concern and there were enough estrogen in milk in general to start creating secondary sex characteristics, then why don't all newborn babies, especially the ones who consume milk from their mother, for a couple of years, because there's plenty of mothers who breastfeed 2-3 years. Not saying most do, most don't, but some do. Why don't their male babies develop gynecomastia? Okay, especially if milk is their primary food source and lactating mothers are going to be producing large amounts of estrogen, why aren't toddlers developing gynecomastia if it's significant enough to impact secondary sexual characteristics? They don't. They're not. Because there's not enough in there to cause it, number one. All right, but let's look at the concerns here. And we should also talk about estrogen as well as far as the health benefits and the fear mongering over estrogen in men. All right. Number one, just mathematically speaking, there is simply not enough estrogen in milk to affect your blood work. There just isn't. And what I mean is if you can get FDA data on this, right, you can get information. The estrogen content in milk has been measured by scientists. If it hadn't been, you wouldn't even know about it, right? Okay, see where we're going here? If you drink an entire gallon of milk, and a lot of people say, well, that's extreme. Well, a lot of lifters do that. The amount of estrogen present in a gallon of milk would probably be the most you would ever consume. In other words, a gallon of milk, there's no other food source that's going to supply that much estrogen in your diet. So because we say that, that sounds crazy, right? Like, oh, well, yeah, you can get a lot more from a pill. You can get 10,000 times as much from a single pill, but that's a drug. It's not comparable. The amount in a gallon of milk is less than 1% of the amount that a healthy man produces naturally with their own body every single day. Now, a lot of you guys are going, what? No, that's crazy. Men don't make estrogen. Yeah, you do. Men have this delusional idea in their head for some reason that they don't produce estrogen, that it's not an important part of your health and fitness and not a normal, natural, healthy male hormone. It is. They also seem to think that women produce like 20 times the estrogen that men do. Well, no, men produce dramatically more testosterone than women, right? So, again, oftentimes 10 times as much in some cases, right? So then they assume it must be the same with estrogen. It's not. It's actually not. If you go look at blood work, look at the top end healthy range for healthy men and look at the lower end of the healthy range for women. They overlap. It's not a tenfold difference. They overlap. Yeah, women on average are going to have at least double the testosterone, maybe triple. Sure, that's normal. But when you look at the ranges of the healthy end, there is overlap. Okay? So it's not even unhealthy for a lot of men to have female levels of estrogen. It's just not. It's not going to give you gyno or these other things. It's ratios that impact gynecomastía and stuff dramatically, right? It's other hormones involved. There's genetic predispositions. But it's not going to do that. But when you start looking at it, the amount in the milk is less than 1% of what you already make. So in other words, assuming it was 100% bioavailable, and it's not, by the way, stomach acids break down hormones pretty effectively. Look at what hormones are. I want you to look at a hormone. Look at the lipid composition of hormones. You know that stomach acids do a pretty good number on that stuff. There's a reason we have to make orally bioavailable testosterone and estrogen and other hormones. There's a reason we have to do things to it to make it resistant to your GI tract so they can get through, to make it resistant to your liver breaking it down, all these other things. Okay, because your body will break it down. But assuming it didn't, what are you worried about? That your 50 nanograms per deciliter estrogen that you have is going to go up to 50.5? You see, the issue is not a concern. It is ridiculous. Number two, let's come back over to the whole point of again, this industry is trying to convince young men they need estrogen blockers and all sorts of stuff. Estrogen's a normal part of your hormone profile. Do you know that for men, when your estrogen gets too low, you lose muscle, you lose bone density, your HDL cholesterol goes up, your risk of heart attack go up? Did you know that women are resistant to heart attacks until menopause, and then when their estrogen crashes from menopause, they're at risk of heart attacks and cardiovascular disease at a much higher rate? It's cardioprotective. Right? There's a synergy, though, between testosterone and estrogen for muscle growth. Estrogen's actually anabolic. It's a reason guys get so much bigger and stronger on the wetter anabolics they take. They boost estrogen along with the male hormones, the androgens. It's a reason for that. But low estrogen is actually a health risk. If your estrogen goes too low as a man, you get your tendons tear easier from training. You're at higher risk of heart attack. Your sex drive goes down. I say, what? Yeah, your sex drive goes down. Right? This is a problem. Like, the worrying about lowering your estrogen is a major concern. You shouldn't be overly afraid of estrogen. Okay? You guys need to worry about being healthy and fit. Just being fit with a good diet, plenty of sunlight, quality food, training, exercise, to be healthy, so that you can optimize your hormone profiles. You don't need to be worrying about these individual hormones to this degree, people. You really shouldn't. And you're not going to significantly boost your estrogen levels from dairy. All right, guys, but that's really all I have to say on that today. I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys next time.